PR Connections Radio presents. This episode of We Have the Power is brought to you by Classy Communications, PR, and Advertising. Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and non-profit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success.
Welcome to We Have the Power. I'm your host, Brian Gardner. Very excited on the program today to have Barbara Wiseman, co-founder and international president of the Earth Organization. We'll be talking about a lot of subjects I'm sure you will be very interested in right after this important message. I'll be right back. If you have the proper tool, usually things just go better. And one of the best tools in keeping our young people away from drugs and alcohol abuse are the booklets from the Drug-Free World Truth About Drugs organization. Now, they have a series of booklets. Certainly, this is a drug that is out there, marijuana, and also they have it in Spanish. These booklets are free. You just go to drugfreeworld.org and you can obtain these booklets and share them with your family members, your friends. And this is a way to make sure they have the proper information, because these booklets do not say, don't take these drugs. They say this will happen to you if you do. And there's also a compilation booklet that has a series of different topics in there. One is alcohol, one is ecstasy, cocaine, crystal meth. We know that inhalants can be abused, heroin, LSD, and even prescription drugs can be abused. So use the right tool, get these free booklets from Drug-Free World, and avail yourself and your family members, especially young people that you know and are in your family, of these booklets, so that we protect our young people and our loved ones from ever getting involved with drugs or alcohol abuse. Very important. I always talk about the fact that we can't have a stable, expanding, flourishing company if we have a majority of our populations abusing alcohol, taking drugs. So those booklets are very key. Now, today's guest is Barbara Wiseman, co-founder and international president of the Earth Organization. Welcome to the show, Barbara. I'm so excited to have you on.
Oh, thanks, Brian. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, let's start off with introducing people to you in this way. Your co-founder, Dr. Lawrence Anthony, is a widely known and respected conservationist. Tell us how the two of you came to found the Earth Organization in the beginning.
Great. Well, one of my favorite topics, actually. Lawrence passed away, unfortunately, in 2012. But he was he was a highly respected conservationist, and he was best known for a couple of different things. One was he had a almost mythological relationship with a herd of wild elephant, and the media dubbed him the Elephant Whisperer for that. Secondly, he was the man, most of your viewers may not recognize his name, but they might remember the story back in 2003 when the coalition forces were rolling into Baghdad in Iraq at the beginning of the war. He was the man who went in completely on his own when everyone else was fleeing and rescued the Baghdad Zoo. And he was there for 6 months in the middle of that war. It was a phenomenal story. A best-selling book called Babylon's Ark was written about it. But during that time, 4 of the top environmental organizations showed up a couple of months after he first got there, ostensibly to help. But they really didn't know what to do. And so they ended up not being helpful at all. And they raised millions of dollars with the media that they got. None of that money actually went to helping the zoo or anything that was going on there. So he was quite disappointed in what he observed.
Mm-hmm.
I was the executive director of a good-sized management consulting firm at that time, and I had known Lawrence for several years. We were good friends. So he called me and he asked me if I would help him start an organization that would be dedicated to taking on major environmental issues, finding rational, logical, non-political solutions that work for everyone involved, not just the spotted owl, but people, jobs, economy, industry, business, as well as nature. And so that's where we started, and that's what we do.
Interesting. Now, the Earth Organization is involved in a wide variety of environmental conservation initiatives. Oil spills happen, it seems like, every so often. Now, you've got something we'll talk about a little later, too, about the water location that you're working with and drilling to save wildlife, especially in war zones. That must be horrible for the animals. My cat hears the firecracker going off at 4th of July. She gets scared. Imagine these animals being in a war zone.
Yeah.
Environmental educational programs. And there is a basic underlying principle you're operating on that ties this all together. And I want to hear about that.
Great. So, to the uninitiated, it can seem pretty wild that we're involved in so many completely different, issues. But it's all based on, it becomes more understandable when you understand that the operating basis that we work on. We have a 6-step operating procedure. And what that is, step 1 is when we come across an environmental situation that looks like it really needs to be addressed. Mm-hmm. Step 1 is we will research to see, does this issue actually exist? Because sometimes what's being promoted in the media doesn't actually exist, or it's being so over promoted as being some catastrophic situation that actually isn't.
From a vested interest that has a reason to promote it, probably.
Exactly. There's always that kind of thing going on. So step 1 is research to see, does this situation actually exist?
Sure.
And is it important enough for us to take on? Right. Step 2, if it is that we then research to find the true core source of the issue. And probably not surprising to you or to many of your listeners, the true source of these issues never ends up being what is promoted in the media that it is. Always something significantly different. So we find the real source of the problem. Step 3 is we then find a solution that will work effectively, efficiently, and for everyone involved, all the stakeholders. Again, as I said earlier, not just one animal or one part of the equation, because that's not really a solution. If it doesn't work for everyone involved, the solution won't stay being implemented. So we find something that works for everybody, and really focusing on jobs and people and the economy, and as well as nature. Then step 4 is we either implement that solution, or depending on the situation, we get it into the hands of another organization or organizations that will competently do so. And then step 5 is we create educational materials around all the lessons learned from that process. And then step 6 is rinse, repeat. Go find the next environmental situation and do those same steps.
Yeah.
With that operating basis, we're then able to take on a wide variety of issues that we feel are worthwhile and important enough for us to take them on and really dig in and spend whatever time's necessary and resources necessary to truly find a workable solution and get it implemented.
That is really important. And what you touched on there, the reason I have the infomercial on the drug booklets specifically targeted toward young people is I feel the young people, of course, are the future of any country or community or world. And so I want to ask you next, you have this character building educational program for youth called Cooperative Ecology. And I want to hear about that, because not letting the media fill our young people with this or that, but you getting in the truth, I would stand behind that 100%.
That is great. It's extraordinarily important.
Right.
We found that, very close to the beginning of when we first started back in 2003, that, if we didn't, no matter what projects we were actually doing, solutions we were implementing, if we didn't at the same time raise awareness and educate people on the truth of situations and, what they could do, what are the real solutions to these that won't end up being the next problem that you have to solve, that's a real solution, and that, how each person themselves can participate in this solution. That if we didn't do that as well as the hands-on projects, that like a lot of other groups, we would be, saving the rhinos and saving the rainforests and saving the whales until they're gone, right?
And you can come across looking like someone, they just have nothing else to do, so they're causing trouble, making claims about animals. If you don't educate people to the fact that these are real issues, and young people care about that perhaps more than somebody who's been around for a while, because they are going to live in a world at the effect of these kinds of detriments.
That's right. That's right. So we actually came up with this term, cooperative ecology, and we trademarked that. And it has a number of layers of definition. Cooperative ecology could just be, environmental groups working together and working with business and government to bring real solutions. But in actual fact, it has a much, much deeper meaning than that. It's an axiomatic principle of all life, that to the degree that any individual or any species of any kind, whether you're a microbe or a whale or a person, to the degree you are actively enhancing and strengthening the factors in your own ecosystem, in the world around you, whether it's people, whether it's animals, whether it's plants, whether it's your bedroom. I mean, you can apply it to anything that's in your own ecosystem. To the degree that you're actively enhancing and strengthening it, to that degree, your own potential for health and happiness, long time, health and happiness is strengthened.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. And so it's, I had to figure out, how do you get this concept into the mind and understood by an 8-year-old?
Yeah, and you have this 4-step program that you can tell us a little bit about, that, because if you take a group of young people and you start here with biology or ecology, and they don't have an understanding from here to there, they're going to kind of go, this is not for me, because
it may be a nice theory, but they feel like it doesn't have anything to do with them. They're disassociated from it.
Yeah, it's the same way if someone told me to fix the computer on my car. Well, you're putting me here, and I have the fundamentals,
Right, exactly.
So tell us about those 4 steps.
So we have a whole series of drills. We have some basic booklets. One, we have a lot of different books, but the 2 most basic ones, one is for 8 to 12 years old, and the other is 13 to 16. And it's basically the same book, but written and illustrated for that age group.
Right.
So the 4 steps it's the same 4 steps, but done on a whole series of things in their life. And the first step is make a list of everything your mom does for you or has done for you that makes your life better, happier, or safer.
Okay.
Step two, once they've done that, is good. Now make a list of everything you do for your mom that makes her life better, happier, safer. Right?
Interaction. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have to say to them, wow, look how much longer your mom's list is or anything like that. Right. Just by them listing this out, most kids begin to see that, see a difference there. Then
Yeah.
step three is good. Now think of something you could do for your mom that would make her life better, happier, safer, and go do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Action. Get into action. I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then step four is good. Now step back and just take a look. Did your own life get better in any way as a result of you doing that for your mom?
That's good.
And it's unbelievable what happens as a result of this.
Oh, yeah.
There's 4 steps, but then we have them do the same 4 steps on their dad. Make a list of everything your dad does for you that makes your life better, happier, safer. Now make a list of everything you do for your dad that makes his life better, happier, safer. Now do something for your dad to make his life better, happier, safer. Look and see, did your own life get better as a result? Then we have them do it on a sibling. And that one's always very interesting. Make a list of everything your sister does for you, right? That makes your life better, happier.
Probably haven't thought about that one yet.
Most of them haven't. And then there's, that one gets some fireworks going. It's quite fun.
I beat him up the other day. Does that count? No.
Then we have them do it on their home. What is your home?
You're broadening it out. Yeah.
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 So then we have them do it on a teacher.
Wow.
Then on their school. What does your school do for you? Right. Then we have them do it on something in the community. It could be their church. It could be a business. It could be a grocery store. It could be an after school program, whatever, but something in their community to do the same 4 steps.
Yeah.
Then we have them go out in nature and pick something and do the same 4 steps.
And do a real project.
And it doesn't have to be huge. The idea is to get them to really start looking at all of the things that are done for them and what they do for others or don't do.
Right.
And then do something. And then they observe themselves like, wow, I feel happier after having done that. Or, the kinds of success stories we get from the parents, the kids, the teachers on this are just really absolutely wonderful. We did our South African chapter just sent me a bunch of feedback after having completed this course with a bunch of Zulu kids, Zulu teenagers.
Yeah.
And some of the responses brought tears to my eyes.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. For example, one of the kids said,
I was going to ask you for some examples of some of the successes that you had. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, one of these Zulu kids said, I didn't know that my mother loved me. I thought she didn't love me. And then when I started doing, when I did the drill with her, I realized that it wasn't true. She really loved me. And it was just that I was doing some bad things and she didn't like some of those things that I was doing.
Wow.
And I now realize, and and my mother is so happy and she now listens to me. And it's just like, oh my God, that is so beautiful. Right. We get things like, the one grandparent was talking, he had wrote a long success story about what happened with the kids. But one of the things that I loved was he said that before doing the course that the kids were treating their animals like play toys, but leaving all the care of the animals to the parents.
Of course. Yeah, that happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And that at the end of this course, they started taking more responsibility and actually care for these animals. And, I thought that was great. Other kids have said things about how much they realize now that this principle is true throughout all of life, because one of the last drills we have them do in that series is going out and actually now looking in nature, pick 2 things that are near each other and look at them really carefully and see if you can see what are those ants doing for that tree and what's the tree doing for the ants.
Right.
Right. And they begin to see that all of life when it's working well in an ecosystem, whether it's their own home or it's, the microbes in their stomach, or it's the ocean,
Right.
works best when there's mutual support, not take,
Right.
but mutual support, mutual enhancement.
It's even interesting. I don't like to watch, a lion catching a gazelle, but the lion has a right to eat. But nature has worked out something very interesting. The gazelle that's at the head of the pack and has very strong ankles that nature wants to pass on to the next baby gazelle does not get attacked.
Right.
It is the one that has a genetic defect, unfortunately, and nature there is moving its own species, bettering its species through that process.
It's true. It's true. And it's the way things work on planet Earth.
Before we continue, let people know how they can get in touch with you, please.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for asking. So our website is not www. It's https:// that typical.
Right.
And then the address is theearthorganization.org. Don't forget theearthorganization.org. And if they want to email us, they can email us at info@theearthorganization.org.
Okay. Are there other successes you can share with me? I know that people watching love to hear about an organization like this. The only ones they don't like are the ones that take money for the CEO and the staff, and this much goes out to do anything. So tell us some more successes that you've had.
Well, just one other point about what you just said. The ones they really don't like are the ones that are spreading alarming data that we're all going to die, next month, if we don't do something. And it is just not true. It's just not true. The alarmism is not true, which is not to say that there aren't some very serious environmental situations going on that must be handled. But from our experience over the past 21 years, every issue that we have taken on, a solution was reasonably easy to find, a real solution, something that would actually reverse whatever is the decaying situation and get it going back in a pro-survival direction.
I think the biggest challenge that humanity is going to face in the next couple of generations, the Earth has a tilt and a wobble. Regardless of what you hear, the Earth regularly plays host to ice ages, and that has a dramatic and destructive effect on the ability, and will have, for us to be able to grow food, because the areas of growing food will be covered by mile-thick ice glaciers, and so we need to collectively come together and quit the squabbling and wasting of resources and figure out how we're going to get through that without just saying, well, this segment of the population has to go away.
Yes.
That's not an acceptable solution.
Yeah. Absolutely agree.
And so that's something that has to be, unfortunately, Earth has this flaw that causes the ice ages periodically. And so that is something we should come together on to protect us from that calamity, which probably we're at the end of the interglacial. So probably in a couple of generations, we're going to see worse and worse drought and more of that kind of activity. But I believe that the human spirit has the infinite ability to solve these problems. It is only the small group of individuals that, want to have all the food and water. They're the ones that are going to try to muck things up. That's why I'm so pleased to have your organization on my show, because I do believe we have the power, right? That's why I named the show that.
It's a great name of your show. It really is, because it is absolutely true. We do have the power, and the technology and the solutions exist to resolve any of these kinds of things that will be coming up. And, they're already there's several organizations that already have some fantastic solutions to growing food, massive amounts of food in extremely small spaces that have all the nutrition that it should have, and that can be indoors. And I mean, it's extraordinary, the kinds of things that are being developed right now. So, these issues are not going to be the end of us. We have the inspiration and the awareness and the abilities to solve these things.
Yeah.
It takes money. It takes resources. There's no question about it. We're always looking for new donors and new members and new supporters and volunteers. We have all sorts of things that we need from volunteers, but we have some extremely exciting programs going on in several countries around the world.
Sounds like, and in the United States here as well, right?
Oh yes, a lot going on in the United States.
Well, we have just about 5 minutes left, but like I said before, I believe so strongly that young people are so important to any community, world, country. Can you give me a couple of other successes or feedback from young people you've gotten? I'd love to hear that. And I think my viewers would love to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the students that went through the program, excuse me,
sure,
was a teenager. Mm-hmm. And is a teenager.
They're tough to reach.
They can be. They can be tough to reach. Yeah. But underneath whatever hormone things they've got going on and confusions and weird influences externally coming in on them and all of this stuff, there is by far the majority are really, really good people. And they want to do the right thing.
They're great.
So, yeah. So there was one young woman who was, she and her brother, there was a brother and sister, and they both did the program. And the sister was making B's in school. The brother was making D's. And they were, typical, unfortunately, typical teenagers who, was taking a lot of strong words and heavy discipline and threats and that sort of thing from the parents to get them to contribute and do anything around the house. And right. And so, and that was bringing the tone of the house down.
Yeah, the emotional
constantly having to force the threat and all this kind of thing. Yeah. So, so they did the program. They also weren't involved in much outside of just, their home activities and looking at computer screens, and social media. So, so they did the program, and there were so many changes that went on in their lives. It was incredible. The daughter started making A's. The son started making B's instead of D's. Yeah. They both started taking better care of the pets. They started doing chores without being asked around the house. Wow. The son, completely on his own, started going over to his grandfather's house and mowing the lawn, offering to do this without being asked, without being ordered, just doing it because he wanted to help grandpa. And then the son started a little, lawn mowing business, so that he wasn't just constantly living off of what money the parents would give him. He started earning a little money to do, buy the things that he wanted to do. The daughter joined a debate team, and they won the state.
Oh,
right? Then when they were supposed to go to nationals, the school for some reason didn't have the money to fund their trip of the team to go. So it looked like they weren't going to be able to go. So the daughter came up with this bright idea and got an agreement from some fast food chain to be able to put a fundraising table for a couple of days out in front of the fast food place. And they raised $4,000, which was enough money for the whole team to get to go to nationals, on this debate.
Right.
So those those are major character building changes.
And we're going to have your husband on in a couple of weeks talking about some of the problems with psychiatry. And these kids need a project. They don't need to be infused with drugs.
Yes.
That is not going to solve their problems. And look at this beautiful example. You turned those kids around.
Yeah.
Give us one more time how to reach the Earth Organization And I want to thank you for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Brian. I look forward to being on again sometime.
Sure.
To reach us by email, info@theearthorganization.org. Website is https://theearthorganization.org.
I want to kind of have you on every 6 months. I want to tell our viewers that next Thursday, 5 p.m., we're going to have a woman that helps young people be prepared for any disasters. The week after that, we're going to have your husband talking about some dangers of psychiatry. And then the last Thursday of the month, I will have the head of our PR company here on a special segment I do at the end of the month. So you want to be a blank, and I talk to industry professionals, giving people a chance to hear about a career path they might want to go into that they don't want to go into without knowing, and then they can hear the good, bad, and the ugly, of being a doctor or a ditch digger or working on an oil derrick or whatever. So some exciting shows coming up, and thank all of you for watching We Have the Power, and don't forget the name of my show. Thank you for being on, Barbara. It's been great. I love the work that you're doing and the successes that you shared with us today. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.